All right, guys. So my name's Sam Bell, and today my speech is going to be on verbal and nonverbal indicators of deception. And so in the audience, I have one of my friends from work, my roommate, and my third audience member bailed last second. So I have one of my friends from Denver who's FaceTiming me. If you can even see that. Yeah, there you go. And yeah, so they're just going to hold up Rebecca to watch. So yeah, there's that.
I gotcha.
So yeah, my I decided to do the speech because growing up, I grew up in a really strict household, and it was actually really like motivating for me to get good at using these like indicators of deception and like being able to manipulate like situations. And so growing up, I always had to avoid my parents for like grades and like doing a bunch of stuff. And furthermore, when I first started coaching tennis, I ended up working under this guy who was like super good at using like these tricks where he was really deceptive. Like no matter what he did, he was like super terrible at his job. People would never give him crap for anything because he was like so deceptive and like he basically hid any indication whatsoever of like him being tricky. And essentially, over time in history, it's been like I don't know, extremely difficult for people without the use of science or like other knowledge to actually understand when people are being deceptive, whether it be in like business or interpersonal relationships or really anything. And so, up until recently, there was this study in the University of Michigan that basically confirmed that with a success rate of 77 to 82%, that they could determine whether or not someone was being like deceptive without like the use of a polygraph test just by like heavy breathing and other like determining factors like wavering voice, etc. And these are essentially the difference between a verbal and nonverbal indicator of deception is like verbal is something spoken, like somebody doing something like going out of their way, over explaining situations that don't have the necessary backstory for. Whereas nonverbal is something more of like a nervous twitch, like avoiding eye contact, blinking frequently, etc. And these reports can be useful to like literally anybody depending on like their situation because essentially almost any discourse community has people that are looking to deceive, whether it be like marketing or like even personal relationships. That's like extremely common. And there was this manuscript in from the National Library of Medicine that basically talked about how sighing was one of the biggest nonverbal indicators of deception, and it was basically related to heavy breathing, nervousness, anxiety, and all these different things that they correlated directly with deception. Similarly, there was this Forbes article that talked about how essentially, um, like stuttering, dryness of mouth, and all these other verbal communicators of deception were super frequent in these similar studies. So, yeah, I think that's all I have for you guys today. Thanks.
But a good job holding